chance for Hunt. It's a long ball towards Brown. Off hands. Melksham been terrific all night. Pickett kicks. Is it a point or a goal? It's a goal. And the Blues fans' hearts break all around the country. Carlton. Hands on heads. Back to the wing. It's a Melbourne win. What a game at the MCG. Remarkable scenes.
Unthinkable, wasn't it, that last 2 minutes? And Carlton now facing again, missing the finals on the back of that, a big game against Collingwood. What happened, Kane? The last 2 minutes you illustrated beautifully yesterday on the Sunday Footy Show, and specifically their midfield.
It would have been one of their great wins, Hutchie. Such an admirable performance. They were undermanned, there's no doubt about that. So we automatically go to their best players and their leaders. And I know, Lordo, you and Ross have spoken about their midfield as we have done the last few weeks. But this is the next challenge for Sam Walsh. And look, I think he's up to it. But this is what they did quarters 1 to 3 versus the last quarter. And you can compare that to some of Melbourne's players. But particularly with Walsh, 27 disposals, not in the first quarter, that's for the game, but only 4 score involvements and low metres gained. He hasn't played 100 games yet, so the next challenge for him, Lordo, is to learn from the best that have done it, like Lachie Neale. He's got to get his possessions in the front half of the ground because teams right now are prepared to let him get a lot of it, and he's not hurting you as much as he could.
Where would you play him? Because I saw him it's centre bounce. I've seen him start on the half-forward flank. Is he a wingman? Like, is he... Well, or is he a centre... What do you think?
He's a centre bounce player. 30 Brownlow votes he had last year. Extraordinary. Playing as a midfielder. Now with Chera and Hewitt coming in, he's been pushed out a little bit. Get him back to playing the role that he plays. He's up for the challenge. He'll get there, but they need a really big performance. I know you're excited about that game on Sunday.
Well, I can see why there are arguments to play all the games on Sunday at the same time or to run them one directly after the other. But, you know, keep going back to the Adelaide game, and Carlton won that. We'd all be lauding Carlton today, I reckon.
It'll be the biggest home and away game ever on Sunday. Like, there's never been more interest.
But they were terrible, that game, Kerry.
Against Adelaide. They were dreadful. I mean, that was their big blip for the season.
But I'm saying, if they don't win, they don't deserve to play final. So they've had 4 opportunities to seal a final spot. And this will be the 4th. And if they don't do it, they don't deserve to play. So to that point, like, when is their time? Like, because they've risen, we assume that they're going to grow into this era and they're going to have success in the next year or 2 or 3. But they've actually got themselves into a spot before they've had success. They've overpaid, they've had a lot of people to pay. And I know you've done a little bit of work on some of their worth and what their existing contracts are.
This is educated guesses on what we think they're either currently paid or going to be paid in the future.
We've got Curnow, Mackay and De Koning all coming out in a year. That's mayhem for them.
That's a big call on De Koning, though. He's not in the side at the moment.
I reckon there'd be another club. If we're talking Isaac Rankin...
12 months ahead?
Getting 900,000 in 12 months, key position player. I think that's probably what he spits out at, Lordo.
Yeah. So he got about $7.5 million bucks.
Mackay worth 1.1 million?
Well, you think
he's 900 plus now.
You think he'll command that in a year or 2?
So my point is...
So what do?
Do they have to make one hard call there? They can't make a hard call on Zach Williams because... The worth in the market is in there. He's got a long-term contract. They have to pay for it anyway to get him out. They're going to have to prioritise. Mackay's the interesting one. Like, as unthinkable as that is, at that type of wage, do they have to lose one of those, do you think?
Lordo, he's not the one I'd let go just because I've seen I'm seeing what Tom Lynch is doing at the moment, and there's 3 or 4 players in the comp that can do that.
How do you get 9 players into 7.5, 8 million bucks?
I'd keep Mackay over a Walsh, for example. I know he's a heart and soul type player, but
over Walsh?
Yeah, I would. You just can't get... Have you seen what Tom Lynch is doing? There's 2 or 3 players in the comp that are doing that. There's 20 that are doing what Sam Walsh is doing. But that's just off the top of my head. I would not be letting
What I think Geelong do well is they don't overpay players. So even the next time it comes around, you offer them what they're worth. If they're not willing to stay, you let them go. But just don't overpay from this point on.
So would you be concerned about that?
I would be concerned, yeah. And the Williams one's going to be the one that's going to come back to haunt them, I think.
And Jack Martin's the other one in there. Obviously, was prepaid a little bit, but yeah.
Melbourne took a while to get there, but it was an unbelievable win. And after the game, Stephen May and Jake Melksham embraced, which was, it seemed to be a sort of significant underlining of, and both, you know, were pretty fantastic during the game at times, Matthew. It seemed to underline, I don't know if it's the end of their issues at the Melbourne Footy Club, but Stephen May, my understanding, is getting ongoing help for his issues, and those two seem to be back on board.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk at the time saying, I think once you make a comment like that, it'd be very, very hard to get over it. But players are so good at getting on with it. Melsham's earned his right in the team now. He's in great form, Jake Melsham, but I'm still concerned about them. They're not playing well at all.